Yo guys, what is going on? Welcome back to the FIFA Flow podcast, guys. Today we got a lot of big news to talk about. Champions League, guys. Round of 16 group stage, or not group stage, but the group stage is done. The round of 16 tomorrow will be the draw to see which teams will be playing against each other for the knockout rounds. Very interesting today, guys. We got two games I'm going to be talking about. Of course, Paris Saint-Germain versus Borussia Dortmund, and also AC Milan versus Newcastle United. So we're going to be talking about those two games and specifically doing a recap of all the teams that we're going to do overview of the teams that qualified to the round of 16 and a recap of the group stages, the biggest games that happened, the most controversial stuff that happened, and then talking about the teams that have gone through, giving my best odds on who I think will win, and also giving my odds on and also giving my opinions on who I think, who I want PSG to match in tomorrow's round of 16 draw. So we're gonna talk all about that today. Let's get right into it, guys. So PSG versus Borussia Dortmund, guys. So amazing game, of course. Always a challenge for PSG at away games, and I've noticed that along all the group stage, all 6 games of the group stage, you can definitely tell, even from the highlights from the live games, you can definitely tell that PSG's weakness is playing at away games, and we've seen it in past seasons as well. Of course, we've seen it in at the Real Madrid at the Bernabeu last season, or 2 seasons ago it was. But I mean, to be fair, you also got to keep in mind that the Bernabeu is just a different story over there. It's a different vibe, it's a different feeling. So that's just a dungeon over there. So the Bernabeu is just different. Real Madrid, Remontada, of course, they're known for that. But generally, Paris Saint-Germain in past seasons, a lot of the time, our weakness is playing away games at our opponent's home stadium, and you can definitely tell that when we play at home. We can definitely tell. Watch the first game of the group stage, Borussia Dortmund, Paris Saint-Germain at the Parc des Princes, and we definitely dominated that game much more than we dominated this game. We didn't really dominate this game. I think Borussia Dortmund really put up a challenge. We'll talk about it in a moment, but go back, watch that first game, and we dominated that game for sure. You watch the second game versus Newcastle at that was an away game, the first away game of the group stages at St. James Park, and straight away you know how badly we played. But as I always mention this, Newcastle really played a defensive 4-5-1 formation, which was just, I don't know whether that was their tactic or whether that was I don't know if that was how they played generally, and compared to how they played against like Milan and Newcastle and Dortmund, that's definitely not how Newcastle should have played. I think only because it was Paris Saint-Germain they played like that. But in that game we got overly dominated. And then you go to PSG versus Milan back at the Parc des Princes in Paris, and we dominated that game. We win 3-0. We go to AC Milan where we have a semi-good game, and yet again it's an away game. We lost 1-0 actually. We should have had a goal, I believe, but we ended up losing at an away game yet again. So both away games lost and both home games dominated. Then we go to the 5th game where we're back at the Parc des Princes against Newcastle. And this game, we dominated the whole game. We did not win, but we dominated the whole game. We drew 1-1. Of course, they scored a good goal against us, a bit of sloppy. It was a nice goal as well by Newcastle, fair play. But going back, as I said, we dominate at home, and we lack in away games. We still play decent in away games, so we don't play like we play at home. And then we go to Borussia Dortmund versus Paris Saint-Germain at the away game. And yet again, I think we dominated for the most part, but Borussia Dortmund really made it a challenge to fight for that goal. And honestly, fair play to Borussia Dortmund. As I mentioned before, I was talking with some of my friends, and I was just mentioning to everyone that I think what was most important to have in mind about this game was use our pace, our pacey attackers, or pacey players to our advantage, and those players would be players like Achraf Hakimi, Kolo Muani, Kylian Mbappe, and you could say Bradley Barcola as well. So And we definitely did that. And yet still, Borussia Dortmund put up a very, very, very strong challenge. And I think that's yet again. I mentioned this in a long podcast ago, where it's players like Sergio Ramos who they're slow. Like you compare to Kylian Mbappe to Sergio Ramos. Mbappe, there's no ways Ramos is catching up to Mbappe. But what makes Ramos one of the best defenders is you don't need the pace. You need the defensive awareness, where to be at the right moment. And for players like Borussia Dortmund in the back line, not necessarily they're fast, like Kylian Mbappe and Kolumani. And there was definitely multiple challenges in this game where you can see Mbappe and Kolumani getting in behind the defense, sprinting behind because of the slow defense that Borussia Dortmund have. So you can see that multiple times. But at the same time, fair play to Borussia Dortmund, because yes, they have a slow defense, but these guys are legends of the Bundesliga game, and they know how to defend well. They're amazing defenders. Matt Hummels and Nicolas Schule, of course. I think both of them played at Bayern Munich. I'm not sure about Sule. Did Sule play at Munich? Yeah, he did. He did play at Bayern Munich, and then also with Matt Hummels as well. Both of them playing at Bayern. These guys, yes, they're slow, and in multiple times you see Mbappe and Kolomwani going in behind, but their defensive awareness, they know where to be at the right time to be in a defensive awareness, to be in a good position to defend, makes them such a great defender. And fair play to them, they had a really great game. Of course, if you haven't seen the challenge on from Nicolas Sule on Kylian Mbappe, Sule over here, what a crazy miss. Now this is a this gave me heart attacks, because we needed to win to secure that qualification through, and also get top of the league, because in the status that we're in, second place in our group, we'll go through it in a moment. But controversial first goal for Borussia, or miss for Borussia Dortmund. And then we keep on going through. We have easy chances. Yet again, it reminded me very similar. I think I like PSG's like play style, and we're very good at creating chances, but we just need to develop our finish. Bro, I don't know what is wrong, bro. PSG is like the most cursed club ever, because we create the easiest chances, yet somehow we miss the easiest goals. Of course, we're cursed at the Bernabeu 2 seasons ago. Remontada, Karim Benzema hat-trick, 6-1 Barcelona. Like, we're just the most cursed club ever. We lose a final against Bayern Munich. Like, one of the most cursed clubs ever. And yet again, this season, our problem is not creating chances. Because the problem is, if you can't create chances, you can't score goals. Over here in Paris Saint-Germain's situation, we can create chances. Our only problem is we can't score goals. So, we can't finish those chances. So we just need to. And I think that's a problem that PSG need. We need a new signing in the summer or in the winter, in January, who can actually strike those goals into the back of the net. And someone I'm talking about is like a player like Olivier Giroud, the boogeyman, as Virgil van Dijk says. And initially everyone was talking about, oh, we brought in Kolumwani to be that boogeyman guy, that finishing guy. But from what I've seen, man, he's not really that type of player who's that last man where Mbappe can go down the wing, cross it, or pass it into the top of the box or middle of the box, and Kolumwani finishes. Kolumwani is not really that player. I would say more of that player is Gonzalo Ramos, and he's pretty young still. He's not really he needs to be more developed. So I think if we get a more experienced player who can know how to finish those goals, like a false nine, like a player like Karim Benzema, Olivier Giroud, like that type of player who's in the box, ready to just hit the ball in the back of the net, like Erling Haaland type of player, then we're all set. Because I thought Kolumani would be that player, but from the ways that I've seen, he's not. He's still a fantastic player for us, for sure, but he's just not that type of player who can finish those goals in the final third, inside the box. Overall, yeah, as I said, great game. The goal that we conceded 51st minute, the problem was, it was the third, no, I think it was yes, Newcastle. Yes, 33rd minute, before halftime, Newcastle score, and we're still 0-0. And then we go, and next thing you know, Borussia Dortmund score, and I'm like panicking, not panicking, but I'm all nervous. I'm scared. I'm having a panic, like, oh, we're gonna lose and stuff. Because of course at that moment PSG are losing and Newcastle are winning, PSG would go down to Europa League and Newcastle would qualify through. Next thing you know, I'm always checking both. Next thing you know, PSG go ahead and score one back. Amazing goal. Kylian Mbappe down the wing, cuts inside to into the top in the middle of the box, and then Warren Emery just bangs it near post. A bit unlucky because it did kind of rebound off of Karim Adeyemi's like a knee, and then kind of rebound away from Kobel, but it was still amazing strike for the young 17-year-old. And then I'm happy we're back in it. We're back in the top. And actually, I think in that moment we're still not at the top of the league, because if we go over here, if we check the group league table, if we check the table, even if we drew that game and Newcastle won, if we draw and Newcastle got the 3 points, we still wouldn't have made it through, because Newcastle on aggregate in the 2 games we played head on head to them, 4-1 away and then 1-1. So that'd be 5 for Newcastle versus 2 for PSG, and they would have beat us on aggregate over there. That's what they look at if the points are tied. So in that moment it wasn't enough. But then next thing you know, AC Milan come in clutch. It goes back to the original, like as if the games weren't played table, and the next thing you know, Samuel Chukwueze, it was a quick counter attack for AC Milan, and Newcastle they lost the ball, no man back, and they lose the ball. Quick counter attack for Milan, with Chukwueze and Rafael Leao, 2 fast players down the wings, and then Chukwueze just finesse around the keeper. So yeah, that was that goal over there for Milan, who brought it back 2-1, and then yes, they draw on points. However, because PSG, even if all PSG had to do was not lose, they scored the goal 84th minute. All PSG had to do was secure the draw, and the reason we still made it through is because we beat Milan 3-0 at home, and then we lost to them 1-0. So on aggregate, it would be 3-1, and PSG would still win head to head, and we would go through. So in that scenario, we made it through. Very close call. So basically, our whole last game was relied on the Milan-Newcastle game, and it could have been the same. It was very similar to the scenario that United had, is they had to beat Bayern and also make sure, I think it was Copenhagen, not to win. Oh, my light has turned off, man. But yeah, crazy game, as I said. For Paris Saint-Germain and Borussia Dortmund, we're like, it's going back and forth. First, PSG are out because Newcastle are winning. PSG make it back, but Newcastle still go through because on aggregate from head to head against PSG, and then luckily AC Milan drew it back. Let's also quickly talk about the Milan game versus Newcastle. Amazing game over here as well. As I said, I think Newcastle really dominated this game. You will watch the highlight, and as I said, when you take a look back at the PSG Newcastle games compared to Newcastle versus AC Milan and Newcastle Dortmund games, the way that Newcastle played against PSG was so ratty. 4-5-1 defensive, everything. You take a look at this game here, and you can definitely tell there's so much more pressure for Newcastle. They're just up in the attack. You see Kieran Trippier making runs into the final third. You see them having more of a high line because they're trying to get that final goal in. You have like 9 players in the final third, because they're all attacking, and that's what also led them to that second conceded goal against Chukwueze. They're pushing up. They have that high line, attacking all the time, trying to get that victory, that second goal. It was 1-1. They tried to get that second goal because they needed the win. Even PSG were drawn, they needed the win to go through. If PSG had not won, which was the case. So Newcastle were trying to get the win. They lose the ball, and then quick counter attack for AC Milan. Rafael Leao, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, and Samuel Chukwueze. Or I think it's Rafael Leao, and I think it was number 14, Reinders. I think he's a Brazilian midfielder. Of course, he's a midfielder, but I think he's Brazilian. Chukwueze, quick counter attack against Lasset, whatever this guy's name is, Shar and Livramento, and then go ahead and score the goal to make it 2-1 to beat Newcastle, draw on points with Paris Saint-Germain, and then all PSG had to do was draw to not lose the game, and we make it through. But as I mentioned, guys, yeah, man, we really focused on we really relied on this game. PSG we definitely had a very good game, but it didn't look like a game where we were fighting to score goals. We didn't look like we cared to score goals. It just looked like, okay, we'll take a draw and hope Milan beat Newcastle. That's what it looked like, how we played. And as I said, going back to Newcastle, the way they played against Milan is just more attack. Like they weren't ratty. So yeah, that is that for the two games I wanted to talk about. It's going to be a bit of a short podcast today, guys. I have to finish some work, of course, but let's go ahead and write down the teams that are going through to the round of 16. So in the first place group, Bayern, Arsenal, Madrid, Sociedad, Atletico, Dortmund, City, and Barcelona. And second place group is Porto, Leipzig, PSG, Lazio, Inter, Napoli, I think it's PSV, and Copenhagen. And yeah, honestly, man, fair play to Copenhagen, bro. I think it's their first time back into the round of their second time back into the round of 16, which is the furthest they've ever been in the competition. I'm pretty sure. I think I saw that stat somewhere on TikTok. CBS Golazo with Thierry Henry, Jamie Carragher, and Micah Richards. I think one of them, they had a stat that they said. But yeah, so these are the second place groups. And taking a look at this, of course, Bayern we knew. I think Arsenal, a lot of people predicted that. Madrid we knew. Sociedad, Atletico we knew. Dortmund was a very surprising one. Everyone, when you take a look at this group F, you see PSG, the big team. Of course, the money team, the oil money team, you expect them to be the best. But everyone predicted them first place, easy first place, they said. And then they said Milan second place. And then some people arguably said Dortmund third, or even Newcastle third, and arguably Dortmund last. And somehow Dortmund come out with a shock. Not really a shock, because they're a very good team for sure. But when you take a look at the likes of PSG, the oil money big team, and also the likes of Milan, a history team, who maybe in the Serie A this season they're not that good, so it does make sense they place third. But still, like, you don't expect them to do this bad. Where in the first 3 games for Milan, they do not score at all. Like, no one expected that bad for Milan, but it ended up being that bad. And PSG struggled somehow. And yeah, fair play to Borussia Dortmund. City we expected to get first, and Barcelona we also expected to get first. We take a look at the second place teams, of course, with Porto, Leipzig, Paris Saint-Germain, Lazio, Inter Milan, Napoli, PSV, and also Copenhagen, which have made history for the club. Amazing for the club. We take a look at these. Fair play. It's an amazing group stage. We have a lot. There's a lot to go through. A quick recap, of course. United, 15 goals, the most goals an English club has ever conceded. I think this is the most goals ever conceded overall for in the group stage games. At least for an English club, I know for sure. But surely not like overall. Like, Celtic has conceded 15. So this is the first time an English club has conceded more than 15 goals. They sit at dead last. And what's surprising to me is people still say the Premier League is the best league in the world. You see United and Newcastle go out. Fair play to Newcastle, of course. They beat PSG 4-1 and stuff. They had some very outstanding, shocking games for sure that proved their willingness to be a fighting team in the group stage for sure. But still, you have to be consistent with it. You have to hold your weight and hold your team's weight to stay in the competition, of course, and they didn't. So United out and Newcastle out. Arsenal and City are the only teams to go through. Then you take a look, La Liga, who are supposedly the third or second best team, best league in the world. All 4 teams qualify through, and not only do they qualify through, they qualify first in their league. They qualify over here: Real Madrid, Real Sociedad, Atletico de Madrid, and Barcelona. You could consider Sevilla as well, but the only reason Sevilla are in here is because Sevilla won the Europa League. So technically, all the La Liga teams who qualified straight to the Champions League through the top 4 La Liga table from last season qualify through to the round of 16. So 4 La Liga teams first, which is pretty crazy. 2 Prem teams out. And of course, I think City, you can also argue, is technically a Spanish club. Of course, they're not a Spanish club, but Pep Guardiola, because of the way he plays, makes them a Spanish-style club. With the tiki-taka, the kind of possession-based game, that's more of a Spanish type of way to play. As I always say, you take a look at Barcelona. We saw this all the time at Barcelona, at Real Madrid. When you hear of English football, you think of kind of press foot. Like you think of kind of back in the United football or Liverpool football, counter-attack football, just very fast pace and pressured. But with Man City, they're more possession-based, take their time, find those clear passes through. And that's why I say they're kind of like a Spanish club, because of the way Pep Guardiola has transformed this English football play style. You can definitely see other teams in England are now adapting to the Spanish kind of possession-based play style. Arsenal are doing this. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Newcastle, like you can definitely see there's more passing going on in the English football play style for sure. But City, they go through, of course. Borussia Dortmund, very, very outstanding. Shock Dortmund. Predict. And then teams who got second is, of course, 2 Prem teams. We have 1 League 1 team qualifying. We have how many Serie A teams qualify? 2 Serie A teams qualify. At second as well. They qualify in second place. Actually, how many Prem teams are in here? City. Yeah, and Arsenal. This Liga first. And 1 qualifies second. And then we have 5 second, 1 Dutch team qualify. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we have 13 teams. Who am I missing here? Serie A. 14. We have 14 teams. PSV. Anyways, no, we have 3 Serie A teams who qualify second. Inter, Napoli, Lazio. Anyways, you get what I mean. So technically, from what we've seen, La Liga are the most outstanding team here, because La Liga are the best team so far, because they have 4 teams who qualify first. Then you can say it's the Premier League because they have 2 teams who qualify first, and then you can say it's a Serie A because they have 3 teams not qualified first, but qualified second. And then you could go to the Bundesliga, 2 teams qualified. So in order of the best leagues, you have La Liga, Prem. I'd say Bundesliga second or third, and then Serie A. And whatever the list is at the end. But over here, oh yeah, Porto. That's who we got. One. And Porto, you can say, what's it called? Eredivisie, not Eredivisie, Liga NOS. So over here, these are the orders of the top leagues. Top leagues qualified in UCL. So very interesting here. Everyone, of course, saying the Prem is the best, but from what we've seen in a European competition where the leagues get to face each other head on head and not just look at the like the domestic competitions against each other, but the head on head. Maybe domestically, like English clubs against English clubs, that league is better, but you also have to prove that you can't only do it in your league, you have to do it outside in Europe as well. This is your chance to show that if you're the best league in the world qualifying for a European competition, then you should also be the best. You should also be able to hold your weight and prove that you can beat other leagues as well, because clearly you're the best team in the best league, or you're the top 4 best team in the best league, and you can't qualify through. Only 2 of the teams qualify through. So that's a problem we see over here. Predictions, I'd say to have, I think favorites to win is probably City and Madrid. But I think you can definitely see, I think a shout here, I think City, Madrid, and Bayern are going to be the favorites to win. My voice kind of hurts, my bad. Bayern. And then I think kind of some second shouts, like, or I'd say some shouts are Porto, not to win, but to Porto go like far through into the group stage, like maybe to the quarterfinals or even semifinals, you can say. I think Porto have having a great time in the UCL. Who else could you say? I think PSV, Arsenal, we can see them go through unless they match. Actually, depends who they match. I think Arsenal beat everyone except for maybe Inter they don't beat, or Napoli they don't beat. And in Porto would be an interesting game. So those are my predictions. And then, of course, I think PSG. I have to put PSG. And then we go to who do I think PSG are going to match? Who do I want PSG to match? Realistically, of course, we don't want the big ones. Realistically, I'd want a Sociedad or Arsenal. I think Arsenal would be a very fun game to watch. But I think we beat Arsenal. But I think these are the easiest teams for PSG to qualify to quarterfinals. But personal favorites to match. My personal favorites and who I want, I think Barcelona are going to be, because Barcelona currently this season are not in the best state. Of course, a lot of injury prones, and they're kind of having a mess. In the last 4 games in the La Liga, they haven't won a single one. I think they've drawn 3, and I think they've drawn 2 and lost 2, or even I think they've drawn 3 and lost 1, something like that. They haven't won a single game in the last 4 matches. Of course, these matches are not going to be happening until February, so there's going to be January transfer windows, kind of a reformat, a whole transformation of these teams. But I think still, I think PSG, at the same time, you can say PSG are also going to have a huge transformation as well. So I think Barcelona, I think, yeah, City we lose to. We can't match Dortmund. I think Atletico we beat. But they do play ratty as well. They're going to play like a 5-back stuff because, of course, they're similar. Like if you take a look at how we played against Newcastle, with their kind of 4-5-1, they play actual 5-back, so it's going to be worse. So I think we still beat Atletico de Madrid. And then, yeah, I think these are my two favorites too I want. I think Barcelona or Atletico. We get one of them, I think we're chilling in the round of 16. We make some good transfers, progressive, we reformat the way we play, and I think we go through it. Those are going to be, that's pretty much all for today. It was all pretty much PSG. We didn't really go into depth about a lot, but yeah, that is that. Let's end it off with a footy tic-tac-toe as well. Oh no, not a friend. Let's go play box to box and show our ball knowledge. Okay, Bayern Munich and Brazil. We'll go with Lucio. And then we'll go Kaká, who also works for Milan and Madrid. Had to mention that so I can, it wouldn't be a lucky guess. Dortmund and Brazil. Not sure about that. Bayern and City, we'll go with Sané. Bayern and Madrid, we'll go with Robin. Dortmund and Madrid, we'll go with Rudiger. Did he not play for Dortmund? Hakimi. Dortmund and City, we'll go with Akanji. Milan and City. Who is Milan City? Milan City. Milan and Manchester City. And also Dortmund and Brazil. We didn't Reinders, who plays for AC Milan. I'm pretty sure he played for Dortmund. I thought he did, but guess he doesn't. Yeah, let's get off this. Milan players played for Man City. Brahim Diaz. Yeah, I think he went on loan to City, bro. I think I remember this. Not foreign players from Italy, but Balotelli, bro. What the? Oh my, I do not get those. And then let's also check. Dortmund players from Brazil. Rainier. So it's the wrong. I knew his name, but it was wrong. Thiago. Oh no, this is not Thiago Alcantara. That's how you say his last name, I'm pretty sure. Julio Cesar. Wasn't this guy a goalkeeper, bro? I think I'm thinking of the wrong guy. Unlucky, but yeah, we move. Anyways, that's gonna end it today. Bit of a kind of short podcast, but yeah, I wanted to talk about Paris Saint-Germain, my hopes and what I think to go through for the next round. Talking about the best leagues, the best teams. But yeah, overall, great group stage, very intense. And keep in mind, this was the last group stage for the Champions League we'll ever see, because Champions League new format will be changing next year. So it's gonna be, yeah. Let's take a quick overcap and take a look and give my thoughts on this. There will be 4 groups of 9 teams. I know. Okay, this is interesting. So it's gonna be a whole league, I'm pretty sure. A 36 league. I remember seeing this. It's gonna be a 36 league table, and there's gonna be 4 groups of 9 teams. Teams will play every other opponent in the group. However, unlike previous formats, teams will only meet once. Therefore, each team will play 8 group stage games. So from 6 to 8, 2 more games than usual. With no home or away game format in particular, each team will play 4 matches on home ground and 4 matches on away ground. Within the same points format, 3 points for a win, 1 draw, and none for defeat. All 36 teams will be ranked according to their performance in group stage. The top 8 teams from the... Okay, so it's going to be a whole group of 36, a table of 36. And then it's going to be separated into 4 groups of 9 teams. Each team going to be playing 4 away games and 4 home games. Only 1 match against the other 8 teams. So the like PSG, Madrid, they're only going to play once, and it could be home or away. It's not like it's not decided. It could be random over there. And then depending on how they do in their group over there, whether they get a win or a draw or something, that is gonna be then that is gonna be ranked into the whole 36 table. And I think also it comes into fact of who the opponents, who their group is as well. If they have an easier group, maybe they're gonna be ranked below others. But from what I know, that's how it works. And then the 36 team group, the top 8 in that 36 will directly qualify to the round of 16. And then the players, the other 8 teams, the 16 teams from 9th to 24th will have a playoff round, and it will be 8 matches or 8 pairs of 2, and the winner of that will be the other half of the 8 for the round of 16, and the losers will go to the Europa League. So teams will be reaching the final will meet in Champions League final leg at Bayern Munich. Okay, so yeah, I guess it's going to be at Bayern Allianz Arena in May 2025. So I think it's pretty interesting. Of course, more teams, more matches, and a new format. And I think what this allows for is I think there's 2 sides to this. Is one is good and one is bad. And 2 it's bad is because... Oh my camera was frozen the whole video. Unlucky, but we're still gonna upload anyways. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, I think with the new format, it's good because it allows for more competition. There's gonna be more. It's gonna be harder to qualify, so it's more competitive. But at the same time, it's bad because all this pressure on the players, on the teams, it's a lot to go through. So it's either going to be really good because it's more competition and the games are going to be more exciting because it's harder to qualify. It's more important games and stuff. Or it's going to be a complete disaster. Like it's going to be too much for teams, a lot of injuries and stuff, and then they might revert it back to the old system. So it could be either way. So yeah, this is the last year we're going to see the group stage. It was fun group stage. Very shocking group stage. United out. Of course, PSG 4-1 to Newcastle. Who would expect that, bro? Imagine. So, a lot to go through there. But yeah, that's going to end it. If you guys enjoyed, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Of course, you guys don't see me now because my camera is frozen. But yeah, that is that for now. Stay positive, stay flow, and I'll see you later. Au revoir. Good night.